Well, Christmas is many things to many people. Carol singers and mince pies to some. To others it's swearing shoppers and a glut of aftershave that smells like cuppa soup. But if we all agree on something, it's that television in Britain goes completely mad at Christmas. The radio and TV times are so heavy, you need a wheelbarrow to get them home from the newsagent, as ITV and the BBC battle it out for your undivided attention over the next 2 weeks. But it's only the UK that takes its Yuletide TV so seriously. Even America doesn't treat Christmas quite so hysterically. There, the commercial TV networks are aware that with all the shops closed over Christmas, there's little prospect of attracting advertising revenue, so they just don't bother at all. What they do is run old repeats, and one station in New York has been running this for the last 23 years over the festive period with huge ratings. So why do all these programmes clash? Well, look at the scheduling even this year. You've got a bullseye Christmas special right opposite the top of the Pops Christmas shows. There's a great deal of difference there. Or Christmas Blind Date, which obviously is unmissable, against a major blockbuster, Back to the Future. Now these are the sort of things that can turn your sweet little old granny into a monster as she fights to see the liquidator while you insist on the gospel according to St. Matthew. So what exactly is going on here?
The beat is booming, the bass is slapping. I'm here to unwrap my Christmas wrapping. So hang up your stockings, hang up your socks. Have a look, see, hear what's on your Christmas box.
Good morning, everybody. We'll be taking you through the Christmas schedule.
The Christmas press launches are the first step in the bitter battle between the BBC and ITV to win Christmas.
Festive season on Thames. A new minder.
What size boots do you take? 8. Tread on that, will it?
Convincing the press you've got the best programmes is a serious business. It'll be the journalists who decide who's providing the best Christmas before it even happens. And in the week after, fill their papers with sensational headlines on who won and who lost.
It's important to the BBC to win Christmas. It's important to ITV to be seen to be doing a good job, because your performance at Christmas gets a lot of publicity. Headlines in the papers, and you can make a big meal of it in the publicity sense.
People are amazed when they come to Britain, Americans, and they see this amazing importance that's attached to Christmas. This is a function of the fact that the BBC always regarded Christmas as a very important part of the calendar.
Throughout the 60s and 70s, the BBC won the huge Christmas audience. ITV didn't even try to compete.
By this time on Christmas night, of course, if you've eaten a little too much, or if you're feeling just plain exhausted, you may be starting to doze off. And so it is to you, first of all, that we say...
The BBC recipe was a traditional one. Lots of variety, singing and dancing, and light entertainment.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Now, on behalf of all here, we'd just like to wish you a Happy Christmas!
In 1963, the BBC won its biggest share of the Christmas audience, with almost 70% of viewers tuning in.
Oh, well, it only comes once a year.
If anyone else says that today, I'll crown them, honestly.
Christmas traditions established early on by the BBC became as much a part of the nation's Christmas as the family turkey and chestnut stuffing.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, with our 4th candle lit on the Advent crown, all our decorations and cards around the studio, we're really beginning to feel very Christmassy indeed.
The real Christmas winner was variety in a cosy fireside setting, and its huge appeal peaked with the show that became a national institution.
It just took off, and slowly it became the centrepiece of Christmas, I think, for most people in terms of television. They wanted to know, who were going to be the guests, what they were going to do. And the people in the profession were very happy to come along and be guests on the show and play various parts. So it became I really do believe that, there are some artists who kind of reach Everest, and I think Morecambe and Wise and their Christmas show certainly did.
The ratings figures, produced weekly by the British Audience Research Board, became vital for the Christmas scheduler in the ensuing battle.
Right, if you could check Christmas blind date for me.
But ironically, the advertisers normally in search of the biggest audience-pulling ITV shows were not that interested in buying Christmas airtime. Despite the huge audiences, the shops were shut and the seasonal spending spree was over.
The bread special on BBC, which I think is going to do very well. So, no, I wouldn't be interested in that. Okay.
Commercially, Christmas is not an important period in terms of revenue. Therefore, what the amount of money we spend on it in a strict commercial world doesn't make sense. We do it because actually we want to provide a service to the viewers and we want to have a decent Christmas on ITV.
The battle in the late 70s centred on bought-in Hollywood movies, but by the early 80s, with the arrival of home video, films and TV lost popularity. The 1982 Christmas audience fell dramatically. Something new had to be found. The BBC came up with the feature-length sitcom Christmas special and put the soap centre stage. It took a gamble on a mix of homegrown, well-loved characters, repackaged in new dramatic settings.
They can actually beat the audience for a major Hollywood movie. You don't need to buy in your big stars from Hollywood and say, look, we've got Clint Eastwood, it's Christmas Day. You can actually say, we're going to give you more of the Boswells, we're going to send them to Rome, and people respond to that in the same way.
In 1986, not only were there EastEnder Christmas specials, but 2 cliffhanging episodes in one day. It set a new trend for winning the Christmas audience.
And what started it was the brilliance of EastEnders and that great Christmas when the Christmas Day was hammered with the 2 EastEnders programmes into which 30 million people tuned. And what has happened since then is that other soaps like Coronation Street and ITV have followed the vogue and that the BBC set. What we do is we try not to come out of the same trap twice. So there has been a special feature of EastEnders practically every Christmas now for 3 years.
Although everyone's always had specials, and like going back more than 10 years, say the Likely Lads would be 15 minutes longer on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. But the actual storylines would tend to be related to Christmas in the sense that it would be Bob and Thelma leave the turkey at the supermarket and therefore have to get one from someone else, or Terry and June, which is still going and probably with the same story, that something goes wrong with the turkey or in-laws descend. What's happened in recent years is that the coziness of Christmas has been knocked out. If a soap is trying to get a large audience, it's going to do it with one of its big crisis storylines, and invariably that involves a death or a suicide or a major marital breakup.
Here is he.
You mean your husband?
Well, it's a bit early for Santa to be coming down the chimney, isn't it?
What's happened over the past few years is that there's been a move towards a more realistic portrayal of what is happening in the viewers' homes, so that Christmas, which is a time of great conflict and tension, I think there's a high suicide rate, there's a lot of marital conflict and marriages start to break up, people get very unhappy, and of course people do argue a lot about what they're going to watch on television.
But winning Christmas isn't just a matter of having the strongest programmes. It's crucial where you place them in the schedule and what competition they're up against. Each side leaves crucial decisions as late as possible. It's a top-secret occupation, relying on instinct, skill, luck, and occasional leaks.
Well, of course, a tremendous amount of energy and excitement is generated by trying to second guess and trying to find out through leaks and in other ways what the opposition is going to do during this period. And it becomes all part of the game, and that all adds to the internal excitement and anticipation and the hype, which are reflected in the media. And that's another element of why it's so important to people that they actually are seen to come out on top of this, because it's a very complicated betting game, this Christmas.
It gets quite nail-biting towards the end because the pressure gets rather intense. And of course you, like anybody, you try and keep your options open to the last moment. And so it goes on right up to the last moment for which, before the presses roll on the Radio Times. And of course you do keep back because there is supposed to be a degree of industrial espionage that goes on. Or so I'm told, anyway. It's not something we indulge in, of course. But in case other people are trying to get your schedule by devious means, you tend to keep back some primary decisions, almost to one or two people, until the very, very last moment.
There's a game of bluff and counter-bluff goes on all year, and we try to find out what they're making, and they try to find out what we're making. I mean, we even go to the extreme of sometimes inventing schedules and sending them around so that the Beeb might pick one of those up, and sometimes we don't, so they never know if it's a real. But that goes both ways. I'm sure they do the same.
If you've got the strongest hand, if you think you've got the strongest hand, you schedule in what I call an offensive mode, which is you put your best pieces together in the best order, and you don't care what anybody else is doing. If you're not sure, then you do need information of what the other side are doing, so that you can schedule a bit defensively, to take advantage of any weaknesses in your own schedule, to protect them, and to exploit any perceived weaknesses in the other schedule.
Christmas at 9 on 4, Kenneth Branagh's production.
This year's seasonal scheduling trick is part of Channel 4's attempt to compete for a Christmas audience for the first time. The hope is that by using the stripping device, creating a regular switch-on time night after night for a programme or special event, the viewer will opt for a fixed timetable over the unpredictable mix of other channels. As well as the 9 on 4 slot, Brookside will be stripped across 5 nights at 8:30.
I think Michael Grade's attempt to codify and clarify Christmas schedules for Channel 4 is very bold and interesting, but frankly Christmas is not about BBC 2 and Channel 4, it's about BBC 1 and ITV.
Influencing when viewers switch on or switch over to the other channels is the key to the schedulers' plans, so they play with their stopwatches to give themselves 5 and 10 minute advantages. Where shared timings do occur, such as after the compulsory religious slot, it's crucial to play your strongest programmes to try and grab the whole audience.
Not every day a hot falls on someone.
Last year, the BBC won the ratings battle from the Queen until the early evening. Then a combination of Blind Date and Coronation Street grabbed the evening for ITV.
The battle really starts after the Queen's speech. The BBC will always get a bigger audience for the Queen's speech, because somehow that's the way it is in the audience's mind. And the key battle is what you do at 3:10 or 3:15, whenever the Queen has finished. So you need a pretty big movie there to be absolutely sure people are in the mood to sit down and watch a movie, an all-family movie after the Queen's speech. That's the key.
If the BBC are running Back to the Future out of the Queen, then that will clash with Blind Date, and that will be an interesting clash. After that, we will be running The Empire Strikes Back against the latter end of Back to the Future. That's an interesting clash, but that's movie against movie, really. The real clashes are on Christmas evening after 7:15, when you see, I suspect you might find Coronation Street against Bread, It'll Be Alright in the Night against Bread, against the end of Bread, possibly Russ Abbott against the beginning of London's Burning.
Well, the clashes may make sense to the schedulers, but what about the viewers? Don't they just get a headache?
It does sometimes look for ITV and BBC as if it's all loaded into some sort of brand tub, and the viewer is then left picking out things without any overall structure, so that you don't know that at a particular time each day there'll be a movie or a serious programme or a comedy, because all this cornucopia of goodies that occurs once a year are all loaded in to a very few evenings of the year in a very carefully constructed order from the point of view of the schedulers, but often from the point of view of the public in a rather haphazard and random way.
The Christmas schedules are bizarre in the extent that they don't, I mean, even more than during the rest of the year, they take no account, I think, of what the viewer wants. It's not let's give the viewer all our best programs, all our biggest programs. It's let's just wait until January the 10th or whenever it is when the ratings are published and we'll see who's won. So the viewers are somehow caught up in this sort of playground scrap between the two companies.
And that, I think, is a sentiment in which we all join. And now, if you've got a glass handy, even if it's only a glass of milk before going to bed, perhaps you'd like to join me in another toast to a spirit of Christmas amongst us all, not just on Christmas Day, but every day. So, a Merry Christmas and a happy and a prosperous New Year. Good night.
Well, with only 6 more shopping days to Christmas, we thought we'd leave you with a comprehensive guide to the TV spin-off presents being marketed by British TV companies this year that you still have time to add to your present list. Oh yes, because in the last few years, TV merchandising has become big business, and with a more competitive future looming for TV companies, the income from such essentials such as Postman Pat jelly molds to EastEnders boxer shorts, especially for the BBC, looks like getting even bigger. Well, the clear winner is Postman Pat there, with over 80 different companies trading on the character and image. So, what are the real gems this year? Well, there's a Channel 4 yuppie matte black accessories, there's a stationery kit here, which that's really rather quite nice. Made a bit of an error though with the tie Channel 4. It should have been black. That's completely revolting. Emmerdale Farm, however, know who their audience is. Little old ladies can sit in front of log fires and do that tapestry. There's the Emmerdale Farm Humbugs, how apt. Also, board games are very popular this year. The most popular, perhaps unsurprisingly, is Neighbours, and the winner of this game is the person who manages to write a script in the fastest possible time. Now there's reality for you. Antique Roadshow have a board game out. How much is that? Well, it's in reasonably good condition. I'd get that insured if I were you. The News in a board game from the BBC. This is a big success. I'm not terribly sure how you play it. You probably open the board and someone shoots you. ITN have come up with their version. Probably a very nice little royal story at the end there. There's also little trivia games. Here's Barry Norman's trivia. Well, he said it, not us. And Terry Wogan's soap opera quiz. Little questions like, why did Elizabeth Taylor appear on Michael Aspel and not my show? Incidentally, the BBC get nothing from these. These are marketed by the personalities themselves. Well, here's Give Us a Clue. Oh, give us a break. Yes, well, there's even a Jeffrey Archer computer game, probably worth about £2,000, I would have thought. An EastEnders watch. I imagine that would make you look very sophisticated wearing that. Where's the cuddly toy? There should be a cuddly... Sooty. Now, I remember Sooty. That's more like it. Cuddly, warm, lovable. Watch it.